Thank you, Mary Claire. So it's a privilege to be able to moderate tonight's forum. I'd like to begin by thanking all of the candidates for their willingness to serve the city of Hudson by running for the seats on the city council. Full disclosure, I do not live in the city, but have lived in the town of Hudson since 1989 and have covered the news of the city for 27 years with the former Hudson Star Observer. The candidates are seeking election to seats in District 1, District 5, and District 6. A map of the council districts can be found on the city's website at hudsonwi.gov. The site also has a complete listing of all the polling places in the city. This 90-minute forum will begin tonight with a brief introduction of our 6 candidates. Then that will be followed by a 2-minute opening statement from each of them. The candidates will then have 2 minutes each to respond to 4 questions. The candidates will then have 2 minutes each to respond to 4 questions previously provided to them. With the remaining time, the candidates will answer submitted questions from the audience. Each candidate will have an additional 2 minutes to respond to those questions. Following the question period, the candidates will have 2 minutes each to make a closing statement. So let's introduce our candidates. Sarah Brock is seeking to represent District 5. She is the co-owner of the Purple Tree, operating in downtown Hudson for 15 years. Along with her entrepreneurial experience, she has a background in corporate banking and human resource management. She is active with the Chamber, the Hudson Independent Business Association, Sustain Hudson, and a past board member for the St. Croix Valley Habitat for Humanity and the Hudson Hockey Association. Also running in District 5 is Tori Boomsma. She is currently the Assistant Director at the Octagon House Museum and previously served 4 years on the board of the Hudson Area Lacrosse Association. Her family have been residents in the Hudson area for 22 years and residents of the city of Hudson for more than 10. She says she'd like the opportunity to help bring the community together.
Hi, everyone. I am running to serve our Common Council District 5. I bring to our city almost 30 years as an active community, and with over half of those being a small business owner in our city's downtown. In my work, I regularly meet new residents in our community, and often they share with me how they long to be part and feel part of our community. I grew up a pastor's kid, and we moved around a lot. And that feeling of wanting to belong, it's forever etched in my memory. Mm-hmm. Citizens have been telling us they want to get involved. They want to be engaged in our community, and that's a beautiful thing. Hudson has so very much to offer, and it is an incredible place, and I feel grateful to call it my home. It is my commitment to work tirelessly for all residents, new, lifetime, and in between, because at the end of the night, we're all Hudson. My history as a business owner involves collaborating with other leaders, community members, employees to further enhance the vibrancy of our city. Additionally, our family-owned business is a public benefit corporation. That's a business that works to balance how we treat planet, people, and the profit. So on a daily basis, part of my responsibilities include responsible management of finances, human resources, and our natural resources. These are skills that I will continue to strengthen and that I will leverage for our city. Should I be elected, our community can count on my vote to reflect and honor sustainability with a real commitment to smart growth that's people-centered. Thanks so much. I look forward to our conversation tonight.
Thanks. Tori?
Excuse me. Hi, my name is Tori Boomsma, and I am running for the City Council seat for 5th District. My family and I have been residents in the Hudson area for over 22 years and residents in the city of Hudson for over 13 years. My husband, Marty, and I have 2 boys, Henry and Charlie, who attend Hudson High School. Henry will graduate this year, 2021, and he'll be enlisting into the Air Force. And Charlie is currently a freshman. We bought our home down on 3rd Street over 4 years ago. Our goal living in Hudson was to eventually end up downtown where we could be close to the shops, dining, and the river. I also have spent 4 years on the board of the Hudson Area Lacrosse Association, like Meg mentioned, and I'm currently the assistant director of the Octagon House Museum, which I absolutely adore. I'm also a proud graduate of the Hudson Citizens Police Academy. Hudson was my home when I was young. I attended 4th Street Elementary, which is now Willow River. I performed at the very first production of the Phipps Center for the Arts, Randy, and I lived across from and played in Burton Field. I remember the old Carnegie Library and the lower level of the children's area and how magical that was. I moved back here to Hudson in 1998 because I know this area has the values I want to instill in my children as well. The rich history of our little river town, which has grown into a vibrant and beautiful community, creates a desire for me to serve all of its residents. I am proud to live in Hudson, where neighbors help neighbors. My primary goal is to lead from the standpoint of bringing our community together. No partisan agendas, no partisan politics. I will leave Washington, D.C. and Madison where they are. I will lead to keep our city's small town feel, but allow it to grow and be prosperous so all of our residents can thrive. I'm very excited about the prospect of serving my community on City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to our questions. First one is pretty simple. Why are you running or running again for the Common Council?
Well, frankly, I am running for City Council for a number of reasons, and I want to be really upfront. When I decided to run for City Council, it certainly was not my initial intent. I had a side conversation with Sarah Atkins, and she had let me know that she had decided she wasn't going to seek re-election and encouraged me to consider running. And, you know, the best laid plans, right? We all start, we think we've got our future set and what's going to happen, and then something else presents itself. And that is what happened in my case. And the more I thought about it, the more excited I got about it. I have recently finished my master's degree in sustainable management. And a huge part of my program was on building sustainable communities. In fact, my thesis is related to that. And so as I think about the role of government, it's about governing for the future. It's about thinking about our children, our neighbors, their kids, and making sure we're building a vibrant community that's going to be here and thriving for decades upon decades before we pass it off to the next generation of leaders. I'm excited because the commitment of balancing how we treat people and planet with the profit, it works. We've used that philosophy in our business we're actually approaching our 17th year. And by honoring that, we have seen that the profit comes along. And I do think if our city can make those shifts and do simple things with sustainability, we will see that our community will continue to do well and be thriving. And not only will new residents want to move here, but new businesses as well. Thank you.
Tori?
Well, I keep being asked this question by people on why I want to run for city government and am I crazy? But my very first answer is I love our city. I really do. I love our little downtown, our beautiful riverfront area, our bustling hilltop, and everything in between. Working at the Octagon House Museum allows me to see how Hudson has grown from a tiny working river town to a bustling, beautiful area filled with people who want to help and see Hudson succeed. And there are so many other reasons too, but right now our big focus is the downtown area is a tax increment finance district, which means much of the development happening in Hudson will be downtown in my district. We need a strong representation for the downtown development, and I plan to help with that. Also, communication is really key within the district as well and within city level. With the loss of our local newspaper, we need to forge new pathways to keep our residents informed. That can only make our city stronger. Also, our district representative should have a good working relationship with the mayor and the other city council members. And I feel like I have the groundwork to start with that. And these relationships are very vital. I also want to make sure that partisan politics stays out of our city politics. There is no room for partisan politics at the city government level. This is a nonpartisan election. And at the city level, we are no longer left, right, Democrat, Republican. We are all Hudsonites. We all come to these offices with different concerns and philosophies, different perspectives and ideas. But in the end, I hope that we can all agree what this election isn't about. It's not about Madison. It's not about DC. It's not about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It's about finding common ground to make sure Hudson remains the happy, healthy place it is to live in. Thank you.
We'll move on to our next question. What do you think are the three most important issues for the Hudson Council to address? And this time, Sarah, we'll start with you.
Thank you. Well, indeed, it's kind of like asking a parent who their favorite child is. There's so many important things facing our city. During the past few months, I have been meeting with community members, city employees, and elected officials. And based on these many conversations, a few things have become abundantly clear. Our community members want to be better informed with respect to what's happening in our city. Getting news as it relates to Wisconsin and our community is a challenge, and it's a growing challenge as the role of our local newspaper has changed. It's time for elected officials and leaders to prioritize keeping our community informed and having the information easily accessible. Next, when I have also met with city employees and elected officials, there's been a resounding answer that our city's infrastructure needs to be addressed and that it is of the utmost importance. Our roads are in disrepair, our utilities need to be addressed, and we are in a really good situation because our city has hired amazing department heads that come with a wealth of experience, and they are working diligently to find the best ways to make sure that it will be the least impactful to our citizens. Yet it is super important to the quality of life around here. My last area it's really a broad reaching one, but it's about enhancing livability for all of our residents. Hudson is a gem, and yet we have to continue to evolve. And some of the things that fall into this area include workforce housing, transportation, protection of green spaces, walkways, parks, welcoming community, and celebrating our diversities. So that kind of all falls under that branch of livability. Thanks for listening.
Tori?
Well, my three top things right now, after discussing with several members, is our comprehensive plan right now is number one. That's being discussed right now. This will bring us 20 years into the future. I believe we have to focus on our bonding when it comes to that. However, we have some major infrastructure items on the horizon. Like Randy mentioned, we've got a bridge on the 11th Street and the others on Carmichael. We need to make sure that those are taken care of and that those are taken and ready to go. But we also need a new sewer plant in the very near future. This will cost the city of Hudson almost $40 million. And with these upcoming costs, we need to keep our current spending low to keep our bonding rate high so that we can borrow these monies at a really good rate. Any additional unplanned bonding now can affect our ability to get a good rate in the future or not even be able to borrow at all. So currently the infrastructure repair plan that is in the works is paid for and ready to go. Our city is in a very strong, good standing right now from what the city council has already established and laid out for us. But we also need to work on funding our library. It's a gem that we have in our city. The programming, the camps, the classes, and more that our library offers this area cannot be lost. We must work with the county and the surrounding communities to ensure that we can continue to fund it properly. It is our last hope for a non-biased, non-political, and non-religious information center. We also need to ensure our public safety is top-notch. People move to Hudson because it is safe. Our police force does an amazing job keeping our citizens protected. However, many residents have expressed concern that our demographics change downtown after around 10 p.m. Our diners head home and the younger groups come out. Our crime levels and our crimes have changed over the past few years, and we have residents who say they're afraid to enjoy our downtown establishments. We need to make sure our public safety is strong, and I will make sure that we provide the support that our police and fire need to maintain the security of our city. And I'm also working on a project right now to support our officers that I plan to implement during my time in office. I want to do everything we can to be certain that Hudson has the resources it needs to be a thriving community, but equally important part of what makes a community prosperous is maintaining a low tax burden. I have paid taxes after taxes after taxes in the city of Hudson. For our library, for our infrastructure, for our public safety, for our parks and our water and sewer. Last year, my taxes were over $7,300. Fortunately, they did go down a bit last year because of Hudson's great economic growth and new residents. Moving forward, we need to maintain reasonable levels of fees for our residents. Thank you.
Moving on, here's the evening's understatement. It's been a difficult year. What are your thoughts to address the divisions and problems that have been created by COVID-19 in our community? And we'll start with Tori.
Thanks. COVID has created fear and isolation and incivility and intolerance within our own city. In our worry, we've forgotten how to communicate with each other. We talk over each other and challenge each other's motives. Sometimes we've forgotten that all of us just want to be healthy, and we want our families and our community to also be healthy. But with those differing perspectives that I talked about earlier comes different definitions of health too. Some of us may be more anxious about our own health and the health of a vulnerable loved one in our care. And then while others may be more anxious about the health of our wider community long after COVID fades. So like many things in governing, it's a balance that begins with coming together and listening with curiosity and humility. And that's why my campaign slogan is bringing Hudson together. I'm very excited to see where Mayor O'Connor and our local service organizations will be taking the new Golden Rule City initiative. I believe this is the right step to healing our community right now. Respect for each other can't be piecemealed together. It has to be a tidal wave that washes over the community, and I hope to be part of that wave.
Thanks, Tori.
Thank you. Indeed, as everyone has said, it really has been a difficult year. Yet I take comfort in the fact that so many...
Sarah?
Be quiet, I'm trying to do this.
So with that, I thank you.
Can't come outside? No, I need to do this for Dad. Okay. I mean, look at how long it is. I have to identify 2-minute periods between for an hour and a half, and it's like 40 minutes worth of footage. Lord Dominic, I'm sorry. It's annoying. Lord Dominic, I'm sorry. It's fine, just go outside. Goodbye, Lord.
Those are the kinds with me. They want their families to be safe in this town, and those are the kinds of issues that come to me. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you. Sarah?
Thank you. Indeed, as everyone has said, it really has been a difficult year. Yet I take comfort in the fact that so many residents have shared their opinions. They've attended the Zoom meetings and have used their voices. And there is a unifying theme, and it's one of deep love and care for our community. I believe if we can bring key stakeholders to the table, we can create solutions that work towards creating a better sense of community. Many of us have been watching the Common Council meetings, and at times the comment dialogue has not worked to create goodwill. Sadly, at times it really has been divisive. I think with a renewed commitment from our leadership to set the tone for the kind of community that we want to be, one that embraces differing opinions, will move us towards a goal of finding harmony amongst our citizens. I believe in creating ways that involve citizens as we work for solutions. That's a great starting point. Also, as leaders, we are called to do our best, despite being human, but we do our best to live and honor that value. Thank you.
Our next question is, how will you work to build collaboration with the mayor and the other council members? Tori, do you want to go ahead? We'll get Sarah back on.
Yeah, I can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Like I mentioned with the communication before in one of my 3 topics, I plan to communicate with my district to make sure that they are fully heard, that I can be a channel for the residents from my district to the council. I believe that is the only way that it should be taken care of. That's what your council member is there for, is to communicate with the district, to bring their needs to the table. And again, there's a great quote that I really like. It's one of the most sincere forms of respect is actually listening to what another has to say. And I truly believe that. You have to listen to understand. You can't just keep talking over somebody. I plan to work together for the best interest of my district and the city as whole. A hallmark of a good community is that people can disagree, and that's encouraged. I actually encourage people to disagree because you'll gain more out of it, but you can still work together to make good even though you disagree. And so that's what I plan to do, is just to listen and have respect, show respect, and earn the respect of people, of the others that are seated at the table with me. Thank you.
Sarah, we got you back? I
think I'm back. Anyways, I am the first to confess that I am definitely a work in progress. Nonetheless, I have already begun to work to create relationship with council members and our mayor. A lot of our members are folks that I've known and have worked alongside in other committees and in other activities in our city. The approach that I use in my life, both professionally and personally, is to be honest, to engage in civil discourse, and to work on building trust. It takes time, it takes commitment. It's crucial to determine what our shared values are and our goals, and then work together to create meaningful change and open discussion. Essentially, my answer is pretty darn short. It's thoughtful and respectful communication at all times.
Thank you, Sarah. Those are the first submitted questions that we have. What little time, we don't have a whole lot of time left. And so if we do not get to a question that someone from the audience submitted, please feel free to reach out to the candidates directly. Their information will be posted with this program. Our submitted question is, with the growth in the city has come an increase in property taxes for homeowners and in monthly rent increases for citizens. How would you address the growing housing challenges, especially for the workforce in our community?
Thank you for asking this question. This is something I'm super passionate about, especially with a background with Habitat for Humanity and being married to a public school teacher. So I understand the parameters and how challenging it is to find affordable housing. Our police officers can't afford to live here. Some of our city employees can't afford to live here. Our manufacturers, they can't get employees because they can't afford to live here. This is a big concern facing our city. Why don't we look at where our manufacturing is happening? Can we do something to make so that we could have apartments as close by to there so that they could be able to get their employees to work? There has to be solutions. There are experts out there that we can bring to the table. This is not a new issue to our city, and it's time that it become a top priority. And I pledge, this is a big commitment and a big concern of mine. I want people to be able to live in the town where they work. Thank you.
Sorry?
Thank you.
From what I understand, our taxes actually didn't go up last year. Our houses were reassessed after they hadn't been in over 10 years. Unfortunately, it was at a kind of a bad time, but that is out of our control. And like I mentioned earlier, my taxes went down and a lot of people's went down. However, their homes were reassessed for a higher property value because that's what Hudson is. Hudson is a place that people want to live in, and that's why we love it here. We do need affordable housing. What the answer is, I don't know right now. We have limited space. We have limited growth right now. We need developers who want to come in to build these buildings. However, these buildings aren't profitable for those developers. Single family homes, those are profitable. So what the answer is right now, we need to work with people who want to build that structure. Thank you.
Okay, we're kind of running up on the end of our time. And again, I'd like to say that we have had other questions submitted that we will not have time to address in this meeting, but you should feel free to contact the candidates directly. That information, how to reach them, will also be posted with this program. I want to thank you all for your responses. You can now each make a closing statement. We'll go in the reverse order of the opening statements. And again, you'll have 2 minutes.
I just want to say, is there a place better than Hudson to live? I have traveled the world and have always come back happily to a town that is safe, well-run, prosperous, because of the people who live here. Like any city, we do have our challenges, but I believe that Hudson is a gem among gems where the people who live here honestly want what is best for Hudson as a whole. Businesses are flocking to Hudson. Jobs are coming to Hudson. Families are moving to Hudson. If there is any truer testament to a community's health and vitality, it should be that it's growing. We need to make sure that Hudson stays attractive to future businesses and residents, as that only ensures our future successes. I promise to work with our public safety departments to ensure they have what they need to protect our residents. I promise to watch and protect our riverfront, our most valued space. I promise to do all I can to support our library by working with the other communities and St. Croix County so we don't lose it. I promise to communicate with my district in a timely manner so that everyone is informed about what is happening in Hudson. I promise to help keep our city services properly funded so that we can grow as a successful community. My name is Tori Boomsma, and I ask for your vote on April 6th.
Thank you, Tori. Sarah?
A heartfelt thank you to you, Meg, for facilitating tonight's forum, and to the Hudson Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this evening. Your efforts to help keep our community members informed and make informed decision is deeply appreciated. And to all of you who joined us tonight and who will be watching this in the future, thank you for setting aside time to learn more about your candidates. As I've been campaigning and connecting with District 5 residents, Common Council members, and city employees, something incredible has become abundantly clear: the interwoven theme of love and care for our community. This is the theme that unites us. If we can remember this shared perspective, I am confident we're going to be able to work through anything that faces our city in the near future. Should I be elected, I will work with the understanding that at the end of the day, there is more that unites us than divides us. I will look for the good in each situation while balancing respectful treatment of people and our planet while I make my decisions. For those in District 5, I am asking for your vote on April 6th. For all Hudson residents, I want you to know I will work for you. Thank you so much for being here this evening.
Thank you, Sarah.